In these uncertain times, we want to remind you that the SDR podcast has your back, and we aren't going anywhere. Now more than ever, it's time for us as a people to band together and make my views on YouTube go up more and more each and every day. And as we stay inside with our fellow loved ones, and as we reflect on our lives, I want to just remind everyone that the SDR podcast is more important than your loved ones and your self-reflection, and that you should be giving your money to me and other corporations along the way. The SDR podcast also wants to remind you that we will make it through this together, but only if we all go to sreedy.bandcamp.com and purchase S. newest single, Abstract Gravity. And to the essential workers, the nurses, the EMTs, and the grocery workers right now, we want to thank you for your heroic service. And we don't want to pay you any more than you're making right now because we don't care about you that much, but we will call you heroes. From the SDR podcast, this has been Sean Reedy. Yo, yo, yo! What up, what up, what up? It's your boy S. Reedy, man, coming to you live on a Wednesday afternoon, May 6th. It's not live at all. It's actually pre-recorded, but we're going to roll with it. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy, S. Reedy, coming at you again, episode 28 of the SDRP, here with another riveting episode. Is everyone doing all right? I want to give some gunshots. I know I just did like 10,000 of them, but let's do 3 more. 1, 2, 3, baby. For my buddy MC Lars and his beautiful new baby, Atlas, who is coming to our world on May 2nd. Congratulations to MC Lars. I'm so happy that your beautiful baby is healthy, ready to take on existence, ready to go into life, and I'll keep my thoughts and prayers with you and your wife moving forward and becoming a parent, something that I am horrified to ever do and will never do if I have anything to say about it, but we'll just see how life takes me in that department. But shout out MC Lars once again. Man, I hope everyone's doing good. I hope everyone is being safe. Hope everyone is staying indoors. It's still a little scary out here in Oklahoma. I talked about last week how our governor has reopened the state. For the most part, I mean, like really reopened it. I mean, like restaurants are open, hair salons are open. My dentist called me up the other day like, yo, you got an appointment today? I'm like, no, I do not. I certainly do not have an appointment today. I will see you later. This place is open, man. People are out and about. And it's a little scary, but the world hasn't fallen apart yet. But we'll just see what episode 29, 30, and 31 of the SDR podcast sound like. I did go skating today for the first time in a while. I went to the skate park, people. I was a little nervous going out there, but there was nobody there when I got there. And there were 2 kids that did show up, and I kept a very long distance from them. One of the kids actually came up like, yo, hey, just don't come near us, please. I'm like, do not worry. We're on the same wavelength right now. And I did go skating, and it rejuvenated my soul a little bit. It was the most normal I have felt in a very, very long time. And as I was walking back, I saw a gigantic police stick-up happening outside of this house where it was so funny. I put on my headphones. I started kick pushing the skateboard. I'm like, yo, I feel like I'm in a real cool, sick movie right now playing Biggie Smalls. Then I pull around to get to my car, and there's this gigantic police stick-up happening outside this house, and this cop is sitting here with his megaphone like, we have a warrant for your arrest. Get out immediately. We are not leaving without you. They block off the roads. There's like 5 police officers with shotguns, and It was insane. And I didn't get to see what happened either, because I went over there to go see what was going on, and one of the police with a big old gigantic gun told me to go away. And I'm not one to argue with a man with a machine gun in his hand, so I didn't do it. But regardless, I feel pretty good today. The best I have felt in a really long time. And so hopefully that continues. And hopefully there isn't a second wave of this horrible infectious disease that kills everybody. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And hopefully we really are on the up and up. But we can only hope, can't we? But that is besides the point. And I will stop wasting your time, because we do have a very special guest today. I'm so excited that Jesse from Days N Daze has decided to come on this really, really, really dumb podcast to talk about his really, really amazing, great record, Show Me the Blueprints by Days N Daze. Days N Daze has been one of my favorite bands for a long time. I feel like this is a Days N Daze podcast because we talk about them probably once every couple of weeks, just because me and Jesse have a really great relationship, and he's always been super nice and kind and really cool to me. And it's always great whenever you realize that people you look up to are really great people. But it's like a whole nother thing whenever there's some mutual admiration that goes on. Like, Jesse, and I don't want to sound like a freaking braggadocious loser that like, ooh, famous people listen to my music. But I only say that to say that he encourages me to keep going. And I really look up to this man that I had this conversation with. So let me just not waste any more of your time. Let's play some transition music and get into this conversation with Jesse N Daze. Boom. Ladies and gentlemen, as much as the next guest does not need an introduction, I will give him one. But, right now, we're on the line with the man behind Days N Daze, the man behind Escape from the Zoo, Chad Hates George, perhaps the man that some would say is carrying the torch, keeping the beautiful genre of folk punk alive. We have Jesse N Daze on the line. Jesse, what's up, man?
How's it going? That was an incredible intro. Thank you. I'm flattered.
Oh, you should be flattered, and you should feel the love because you deserve it. How are you? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm keeping busy, just trying to keep my head on straight with the I haven't been in one place this long in years.
Since you were an infant, since you were Did you see the new Rick and Morty on Sunday?
Holy shit, I did.
It was a trip.
Oh, so great. I'm a sucker for that, like, meta. Can I curse on here? Sorry.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Go for it.
Word. Yeah, I'm a sucker for that. And then when they went into, like, the whole, like, all the story structure jokes, oh, God. I'm always worried when they come back that I'm going to be disappointed, and not once have I ever been disappointed.
No, I know. I feel you. So just for the listeners that don't know, and I don't know who would not know, but go ahead and just as briefly as you can, kind of like, and I know that we could be here all day just talking about your bands and the different ways that you've written songs and everything, but like a brief history of everything from the band from the beginning till now. What is Days N Daze?
Well, Whitney, the trumpet player, and I both moved to San Marcos from our hometown, Houston, when I was 16 and she was 18. And we started playing songs just out of boredom, because unless you're, like, super into, like, keg parties and, like, college kid shit like that, that town is boring as all
I played a few shows in San Marcos, and yeah, it's very it's being a college town is its identity for sure.
Yeah, the Studemeyers abound for sure. So we were writing little songs just to keep ourselves busy. We're like, maybe we should like play some coffee shops or something. Whitney proposed that we name our music, and Days N Daze was literally the first thing I thought of, and we just stuck with that. Well, we moved back to Houston. We kept writing and we started playing like shows in the punk scene a little bit, and then got it in our heads that we should hit the road. buddy Andrew Hoskins took us out and kind of showed us the ropes. And then my little sister joined, played washboard for a little while. She moved on to do her own music, which is fantastic. It's just called Marissa, if you want to look it up. And we've had like Freddie from You Not I played Gut Bucket for a while. Our friend Matt played. Our buddy Dustin. We had a bunch of members, but finally I feel like we've settled on Megan on washboard and Jeff on Gut Bucket, and that's been our lineup for like, I think Megan just posted, it's like longer than I thought, like 5 years or some shit. We've been the four of us, and yeah, we've been touring like a decade now or something, I guess. I don't know. Long time.
So touring was a very big part of the band from the get-go, right? Because like it's funny, your fan base, which is very respectable and very big, like across the country, it's funny saying it out loud because it almost sounds disrespectful, but I know a lot of them would take it as a compliment. A lot of them are very unplugged. A lot of them are very, train kids, dirty kids that like, make it a point to be unplugged from like what's going on in the world. And somehow every one of them that I meet knows and loves your music. So like, have you noticed how your band has gained a following the way it has in this internet age, but the old fashioned way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think maybe we're a little more popular in those like crusty kid underground circles is because when we first started touring, we were using a website called DoDIY.org, which I think is still around. If it is, and you're just beginning to tour, it's an amazing tool. It just has like a list of cities and a bunch of like DIY places that book shows in every city and like all the contacts. And a lot of those DIY places are like, like anarchist book collectives and shit like that. And of course, that goes hand in hand with like the traveling culture and like crust punk and that kind of thing. So I think just from that was like our in to the music world was like the underground crust punk anarchist scene.
Right, yeah, and you probably got a hold of that scene like when it was a little more taboo and a little more on the rise too, so that's really cool. I haven't heard of that website in forever, honestly. I'm not sure if it is still around.
I really hope it is because it was fantastic. It helped us so much.
So how has the reception, we have you on here to promote the new album, Show Me the Blueprints. How has the reception been so far?
It seems pretty great so far. I'm pleasantly surprised. I was really worried, especially because all of our other albums we recorded ourselves, so it has like a more DIY, like kind of lo-fi sound. And of course, we recorded this with Fat Wreck, so it's not lo-fi. Like they did do a good job, I think, of hanging on to the not low quality, but you know what I'm saying, like
the kind of chaos
sound,
the kind of chaotic feel of it all.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds overproduced. I think maybe some people that have been listening to us for like years might be a little put off by it.
Have you noticed that people have already put online like worse sounding versions of the songs?
Yeah, that's so good. That had me cracking up. I think April from Apes of the State did it at first, like put My Darling Dopamine with just like a high-pitched squeal behind it.
Right,
and they took it even further and like did a version of it like recorded in a coffee cup or something. It's so good. Oh my God. I love it.
That's so good. So, so this was released and recorded with Fat Records. How did that relationship start?
I'm pretty sure that Sturgeon of Leftover Crack showed Fat Mike some of our music, because we've been friends with Leftover Crack for like a few years now, I think. Right. After Sturgeon contacted us to help back him for some acoustic shows he was doing. So we did that, and then we kind of just like hit it off with them. We did a few tours with Leftover Crack, and I guess just, through the telephone line, Sturgeon showed Mike a couple of our songs, and he liked them and asked if we wanted to do a record.
So were you guys ever planning to do kind of more of a produced record with a record label and stuff like that, or was it just an opportunity that kind of presented itself and you said, let's go for it?
No, we had no intention or we never thought that anyone would ever approach us to want to do anything like that. So we were kind of just had accepted that we were going to just have to get better at recording ourselves, which we still will do, obviously. But yeah, we never met in a million years did I think that Fat Wreck would want to do a record with us.
That's dope.
Surreal.
Well, I'm sure it's a dream come true, and I'm sure that, I mean, you really should be proud. It is a really great record. I do ask this to everybody that comes on, and I know it's kind of the worst thing to ask, but what is your favorite song on the record?
I think the title track is my favorite song, Show Me the Blueprints, just because it addresses obsessive compulsive disorder, which is something that has plagued my life, since I was a little kid. My mom has it super bad. It kind of shapes my world a little bit, and I've always kept it pretty well hidden, I think. Like, a lot of my friends don't really even know they have it. They might notice some weird quirks every now and again, but I don't think they understand the extent to which it affects me. And I've never really addressed it full on in any of our music. So it felt really good to finally get that off my chest. Also, Whitney's trumpet part in that song is just so dope.
Oh, it's beautiful. That song is beautiful. That song is definitely one of the standouts because it is almost a black metal song played on acoustic instruments.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Thank you. We tried.
No, it's dope. I mean, and there's so many different influences on the record, from folk to bluegrass and black metal and hardcore punk. Almost, there are definitely no two songs on this album that sound the same. Did you guys sit down and say okay, it's time to write songs for our new album, or are these just songs that kind of just piled up over time that you're okay, these are the 12 or 10 or whatever?
We were just after we released Crestfall, we just started writing. So what was that, 3 years ago or something?
Yeah,
that?
It's been a while.
So this is just these are just 3 years worth of thoughts and growth and ideas that we finally were able to mush together and put on one album.
That's dope. I know Advice is a reprieve of Crack Pipe by Escape from the Zoo, right?
Yeah.
Was that spontaneous, or was that something you had planned to release as Days N Daze, or put on a record eventually, or
I wasn't when I first wrote it, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, and then we started messing around with the tune with Escape from the Zoo, and I loved how it sounded almost like a Weezer song. It was real drivey and heavy, and I was well, definitely we have to do it as Escape from the Zoo. And I mean, the whole Crack Pipe thing is a play on Hash Pipe, the Weezer song, in the video where we were trying to kind of play off the Hash Pipe video, how they have the sumo wrestlers, so we had the wrestlers and stuff. There's a cheeky little zoom into me wearing glasses, which is a play on one of the shots in the Hash Pipe video.
Dude, that's funny. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, if you go back and watch it now, hopefully it'll be pretty apparent. But so when we did it with Days N Daze, it just doesn't have that same Weezer sound. So I figured we should change the name because the joke just wouldn't.
Oh, I got you. Land. Yeah.
Also, it's easier to differentiate, I guess, between the two that way.
Yeah, that song is really great. I love all of it. I think my favorite song is, would you pronounce it Saboteurs?
Yeah, Saboteurs.
That's a very fancy word. I love that song, and those maybe be my two favorite songs, and just because the way that I feel they lyrically connect a lot. But what am I trying to say? There are a lot of nihilistic themes on this record, and I guess a lot of the Days N Daze catalog,
Definitely.
I think it would be easy. It would be very easy to say, I guess, if you're just listening to the records, it'd be easy to say that the philosophy of this band is that nothing matters and maybe nothing even exists. Is there a duality to the Jesse we hear on these songs versus the Jesse in real life? Or is this I guess what I'm asking is, what would be the underlying philosophy of Jesse Sandeas? And does that differentiate from the philosophy of Jesse and Days N Daze? To get real deep, I guess.
No, I don't think I'm any different in my music than I am in real life. I do have those feelings where I feel I have those days that nothing matters. I don't know if any of this is real. Is any of it worth it? That I get down on myself. But I do, and I hope it comes through in the music. It might not. I want to address those feelings and those issues and ideas in songs, but I also want to make it known that just because nothing may matter, just because none of this might be real, doesn't mean that we still can't enjoy life and enjoy each other's company and have fun and love being here. So I try and add a little bit of hope to that, like you said, nihilism or existentialism or whatever it is. and I try and approach my real life the same way. Like, I try and stay optimistic, even though it might not be possible some days. But yeah, I want to make sure that hope is intertwined with that hopelessness, because I think both are important to experience.
Well, yeah, and totally. And that's the reason I asked, is because, like, you know, we've met multiple times and have several conversations, and it is funny. Like, I just feel like it's that word duality that I was using earlier. Like, I do kind of feel like there is a duality between I almost want to feel like I'm putting words in your mouth, and I don't mean to do that, so stop me if I am, but I almost feel like, you know, you are a very optimistic and like happy and caring person, and I almost feel like those are qualities of somebody that wouldn't have that feeling of, like, you know, nothing exists, nothing matters, nothing's real. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. No, you're not putting words in my mouth. I appreciate that you seem to understand me as a being so well. But yeah, I understand. I feel like once you kind of realize that maybe nothing matters as much as maybe we feel like it does sometimes, it's a lot easier to kind of step out of yourself and maybe try and care a little bit about other people a little more. I feel like when I get really fixated on anything that I'm doing, it kind of makes me a little bit of an asshole. So I try and remind myself that there's not really a point to any of this. I just have a chance to do something, so I'm just doing it. It's not a game changer or anything.
Yeah. So, like, with this album particularly, Show Me the Blueprints, is there any sort of, like, I don't want to say mission statement, because that almost sounds like a corporate office thing, but is there like some sort of like underlying theme behind Show Me the Blueprints that people can find if they, like, you know, listen to it as a project? Yeah,
I mean, obviously addiction and depression are like mental health are huge themes throughout. The opening track, Flurry Rush, is I feel it kind of sets the tone for the whole record, and it kind of has that like hopeless back and forth thing that we were just talking about.
Definitely. That song is so good, by the way. I love it so much.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think that the main theme of the album is mental health and the consequences of ignoring mental health, of ignoring, you know, not taking care of your own mental health. So, but I mean, because we start out with Flurry Rush, which is like a super up and down kind of those like bipolar feelings, so like existential into the hopeful and all that, and then we end with kind of just like that, a song about kind of acceptance and moving on.
Yeah, that's dope. Well, so, it doesn't and I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about that is the end of the album, I guess, but the very, very end of the album is a different tune. I gotta know. So I gotta just ask, how did that even happen? The crazy electro techno rap song that is the hidden track at the end of Show Me the Blueprints.
So Sturgeon wrote that music, and he wrote a verse and asked me and Whitney to write a verse, and we were playing it live when we were on tour with Bus River Crack the last time, I think. And I think we were probably all just like partying one night, and he was like, "Hey, you should throw this on the end of the album as a hidden track," and we're like, "Sure." And then, of course, it just happened.
My jaw was on the floor, bro. It was the last thing I expected.
It was honestly, it was the last thing I expected when he showed me. I was so blown away, because it doesn't sound like anything I've heard him write before. But that beat, dude, that shit slaps.
Oh, it knocks. It does. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and move along to this. I did get a few fan questions. I went to Facebook to make you choose between two things. So I wanted someone to do like band versus band, food versus food, stuff like that. And they were very excited to hear what you had to say. So the first one is from Jaquan. Ask, taking a shower versus changing clothes, which I feel might be a personal attack, but I still want to hear what you have to say about it.
I definitely a shower over changing clothes any day. Right now I'm wearing just a white T-shirt and those Carhartt pants that are rolled up at the calf, like I've been wearing for the last year or two. I feel like I'm like a cartoon character when it comes to clothes. Like,
yeah,
I just have like
sure.
a ton of white shirts and like two pairs of pants. Like once I feel comfortable with something, it's very rarely changes.
But you are right. You do look like a cartoon character with the clothes and everything. But like, I also never change clothes ever, and I don't have nearly the same effect. Like you, at least, when you like put on the clothes and don't change them, like you have very distinct Jessiness about you when you do it. And I just wear pants and a t-shirt every day.
Word.
All right, the next one is from Evan. He wants to know if you prefer fork and knife or chopsticks.
That's a really good question, actually. I think fork and knife are easier, but I think I would prefer chopsticks. It's more fun.
It is more fun, yeah. When you get sushi or Asian food or whatever, do you use the chopsticks?
Oh yeah, for sure. Whenever Veronica and I go out on like a sushi date, you can't eat sushi with a fork.
Right, yeah, no, you gotta look the part. You gotta be a part of the whole thing. I agree.
Yeah, you gotta respect the food, man.
Are you a soda drinker? Sorry,
no,
interrupted you.
Not at all.
You're not, because someone asked Mountain Dew versus Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah, neither. I can't drink caffeine. Like I have so much like anxious, nervous energy already that caffeine just like puts me.
Oh, you're not caffeine at all, so you don't drink like coffee or tea or anything.
No, I drink decaf coffee just because I heard it's good for your liver. And I like the taste, but yeah, no caffeine.
Silas Armstrong wants to know, Ghetto Boys versus Paul Wall.
Oh, Ghetto Boys.
Ghetto Boys easy? I mean, I was going to be the same way, but I didn't know that was going to come straight out your mouth like no hesitation.
Oh, yeah, no. Definitely. Ghetto Boys. Sorry to anybody that offends.
Oh, no. It's good to be strong in those opinions. Now, this is just a question, not really a versus thing, but Electra wants to know the craziest crowd surfing moment that you can recall at one of your shows. Because apparently, and I wasn't at, you guys performed in Oklahoma City at a place called Sauced in probably 2016 or 17, I believe. And I missed that show. But apparently someone was thrown onto the roof of this place, and they want to know if you recall that, or if there was any crazier memory that you can recall of a stage dive.
Thrown onto the roof? I don't recall that. That's pretty awesome.
That sounds crazy.
Definitely. We played Resist to Exist, I believe it was, and I want to say it was in Germany, and we were it was like a giant festival, so we were on this huge outdoor stage. And there's maybe like 500 people in the crowd, and we played a song called Self-Destruction Anthem that we play at the end of the show sometimes. But it's like a big crowd sing-along thing, where like the crowd will come up and like sing their own verses.
Which, by the way, when you did that in Oklahoma City and I finally got to do my verse of Self-Destruction Anthems, that was top 5 moments of my life, period. I waited on that moment for so long.
Fucking crushed it. That's what's up. You work well under pressure. It's good. But yeah, so we started doing that, and we're trying to invite up like 10 people or something, just to sing, but the crowd didn't get it, I guess. And like 50 people rushed the stage. So there's a picture of it somewhere, probably on Facebook, where it's a picture of me crowd surfing on a crowd on the stage. So there's like oh my god, the stagehands for that festival were so bummed with us. They're like, great, now we have to like tape down all these cables again. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry, we had no idea that was gonna happen. It was not our intention. But so that was pretty epic. Also, I tried to, those bars they put in front of the stage sometimes, like 4 feet away, to like for some reason keep the crowd back. I hate that.
Yeah, that sucks.
But I tried to like jump out on like and stage dive over the bars, and I made it onto the crowd, but then they kind of like dropped me, and my ribs like fell right onto the. Oh, it was so bad. Like bounced off the bar and like hit the ground, and I had to act like it didn't hurt and just like jump back on stage to like finish it was so bad. Because it was like embarrassing and crazy painful all at the same time, and I had to just kind of like act like I was totally fine.
Oh my god! That was
probably the lowest and the highest. Yeah.
That's incredible. That's the best answer I could have ever expected. That's so good. All right. God, that's about it, my guy. What's next for Days N Daze right now? And even Escape from the Zoo and Chad Hates George. What do you got planned in the future?
Well, Escape from the Zoo just put out a split with Public Serpents from New York. So we'll probably do some touring for that once everything gets back to normal. We have a full album written, but the recording obviously we like to record all at once in the same place. So we'll see when we can book that. Chad Hates George, we really want to do like an East Coast tour. I feel like we haven't been out that way in a long time. We're not really working on any music, but it's just fun to be able to tour with my little sister and play those songs. Days N Daze, we have a bunch of shows and tour dates lined up, but everything's up in the air because of all the quarantine stuff. So probably won't get back into the full swing of things till like next year, unfortunately.
Well, you guys have been crushing it doing live stream shows like once a week. It's been really dope to see that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we have that. That kind of like, I mean, that's like the nicotine patch for, you know, our live performance addiction that we have. So like it's holding us over a little bit. But yeah, I cannot wait to get back on the road and hang out with friends and like hug people in the pit. It's gonna be a blast.
Hell yeah. Hey, will you wear an S. Reedy hat on one of your live streams coming up? Because honestly, I tune in all the time to see if you're gonna wear it, and you never are, and it's fine. And you don't have to do it. But now I'm asking you as a friend to do it in one of the live streams. So can I expect that maybe in the future?
Oh, I got you. Yeah. I rock it around. I'm actually looking at it right now. It's hanging on my hat rack, like right in front of me. I wear it around the house all the time. But like I have this Nazi punk fuck off hat that I wear on the stream.
Right. Yeah.
But I do have a stream on the 9th. I'm streaming right after Elliot Lozier from We the Heathens. So, yeah, I'll rock my Reedy hat for that, for sure.
Dope. Well, that'll be something big to look forward to. Everyone on the podcast listening right now is going to hold you to that, and we're going to be in high anticipation for it.
Hell yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
No, just thanks so much for having me. I know it was a blast hearing your voice and chatting with you. I hope you're doing well and staying safe as well, you know, as everyone else listening. Please take care of each other.
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, likewise, man.
And that was it, ladies and gentlemen. Geez, what a stand-up guy old Jesse N Daze is, and what a band Days N Daze is. If you have not listened to the new album by Days N Daze, Show Me the Blueprints, do yourself a gigantic favor and go, A, stream it on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream music, and B, go and buy a digital or physical copy from daysndaze.bandcamp.com or fatrecords.com, which is crazy to even say out loud, freaking Fat Records. I grew up listening to NoFX when I was in 11th grade. I had a job at a pizza shop, and my boss there told me that if I liked Blink-182 that I should listen to NoFX, and I did, and NoFX reminded me a lot of, you know, Rise Against, the other kind of pop rock punk band that was popping at the time. And so I latched onto it because it was like familiar in a way, but it was subversive enough to be like a gateway into all the other things that I grew to like, you know, growing up and everything. So all that to say, it's really crazy to see a friend of mine be in close proximity with Fat Mike put out a record on Fat Records. I mean, it's amazing. It's really incredible. And it's everything that Jesse, Whitney, Jeff, and Meg deserve, honestly. And the record is amazing. And that's the part that I'm most excited by. So like I said, go stream the record. And the links to everything will be in the description down below, as always. Before I get out of here, want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to two organizations, okay? The Academy of Contemporary Music at the University of Central Oklahoma and Factory Obscura in Oklahoma City. who were gracious enough and kind enough to host a S3D concert on Thursday night and Saturday night this weekend. And it was a lot of fun to do. The ACM one was a bit strange and weird because it was a lot of college kids that follow a... I am alma mater, if you will, of ACM at UCO. That is where I graduated college. That was about 3 years ago now, or 4 years ago. I don't even remember anymore. But needless to say, the kids that are following this account are not kids that I know or have ever been in proximity with. And there's like so close to being like a generational gap between us. So it was funny performing for like a bunch of 19, 20-year-old kids on Instagram Live on a college Instagram, because even though it's a music college, it's still college, and that's an experience and a mindset I've not been around for in a while. But all in all, it went really well. Had some really nice folks DM me after the show. Had a few people follow me and maybe, send me some beats and stuff like that. It was a good, really nice and wholesome experience. Thank you, Academy of Contemporary Music in Oklahoma City. And big thank you, of course, to Factory Obscura, who I did do a little more of an organized event for, because Factory Obscura is really about their business, as I found out. And not that I didn't know that, but these guys were sending me contracts, like, all right, you can go a little over 45 minutes and a little under 45 minutes if you want, but like make it good, and we want you to not cuss, and you better not play any copyrighted music. And I was like, oh, okay, so this isn't this is not the equivalent of me just playing in someone's garage somewhere. This is like if I actually played. The Factory Obscura live stream is like the mid-sized venue of online venues. And I understand why. They have a really great following, a lot of really amazing people following their movement, if you will, and a very sizable and respectable amount of people willing to back them up and follow the things they do. And a lot of people showed up to the live stream that we put on. My girlfriend Kelly put on an amazing backdrop for me with with a little green sheet and a little hanging white arm and stuff, and a little skull, some lamps. It was a whole vibe, as the kids would say. I'm on TikTok a lot more these days because of the whole quarantine stuff. So, I'm learning phrases like it's a whole vibe, and I'm trying to work it into my vernacular as to, make sure that to be hip with the kids. Yeah, just kidding, whatever. Anyway, a big thank you to Factory Obscura. And if you want to watch the live stream in its entirety, the link will also be in the description. And you can go drop a like over at Factory Obscura's Facebook, and you can follow all the other amazing live streams and art events that they have going on over there. And that is the episode of the SDR podcast. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope everyone is being safe. I really hope everyone is in a decent space mentally right now, because I understand as time goes on, it kind of gets harder and a lot more dragged along. And, the mind and the soul can only take so much, and I totally understand that. So if you are out there and you feel a little lost or a little hazy in the brain, if you will, it's no sense in not getting any help. Reach out to your friends. Make sure you're checking on your friends right now. If you don't have any friends, hi, my name is Sean. I'm your friend now. DM me and we can talk about it. Thank you for listening. This week on the SDR podcast, we're going to do something we've never done before. We're going to double dip into a band, because I know we've already played My Darling Dopamine. I know we've already played that song on the podcast before, okay? And I normally make it a strict point to not double dip into bands when we play the song at the end of the week. But you know what? Show Me the Blueprints is just such a gosh darn good album by Days N Daze, and I want you to listen to it so bad that we're ending with the song Saboteurs off the new Days N Daze record. So, take it away, Days N Daze. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you for being alive. Continue to do that, and I'll see you next week, all right? Bye-bye.
Scenery was gorgeous and the people all so pleasant. What a place. Might have been our one chance to experience firsthand all the culture and the beauty of the state. But when we arrived, I couldn't bring myself to leave the car. Stayed locked away with my guitar, and while the others studied the mountains and the rivers, I just stared down at my fretboard pad and pen. Lately I've been struggling to conjure up a band-aid for this problem that is freshly manifested in my brain. It seems as though I've grown a light switch deep within the recess of my psyche. When it flipped renders me borderline insane. It's like 10 seconds ago everything was fine and dandy, but now everything is fucked, and there ain't no rhyme or reason for my seething. I just wanna be okay, but I feel stuck. Often always on the road, so one year we organized a trip. We'd take to Lake Tahoe, place we'd been when I was younger. All the memories are golden, but when we arrived I found myself down at the bar, blackout drunk and seeing stars, while my loved ones all played board games by the fire. I did drink myself within an inch of death. I'm no stranger to mistakes. It feels like every step I take I trip myself up, can't get out of my own way. I'm by far my harshest critic and a cynic, too neurotic to accept that sometimes shit is just okay. There's always gotta be some problem I alone must solve, but that just ain't the case at all. Cause I got friends and family, but my worst enemy is me, and me just can't escape my head. I was born to sabotage myself, but that's on me and no one else. I'm a human grenade and I'm good at pulling my own